Scene 24, the Crystal Archive. Knowledge was never the builder's greatest achievement. It was teaching others how to seek it. Frontier Archives, Builder Translation Records. The doorway remained motionless. Towering nearly 30 meters above the polished stone floor, it dominated the silent chamber like a fragment of the night sky carved into crystal. It reflected nothing, not the surrounding walls, not the soft blue light flowing beneath the floor, not even Zandor himself. The surface absorbed every reflection as though light simply ceased to exist within it. The three concentric circles at its center glowed faintly. Each pulse traveled slowly outward before disappearing into the surrounding crystal. The rhythm never changed, patient, steady, ancient, like the heartbeat of a civilization that had never truly died. Zandor remained several meters away. His hand instinctively rested near the sidearm secured to his frontier armor. Years of peacekeeper training had become second nature. Unknown structures, unknown technology, unknown civilizations. Each demanded caution before curiosity. Yet nothing about this place felt hostile.
"You've been waiting."
His words faded into the chamber. No echo returned. The room absorbed sound as completely as the doorway absorbed light. Silence settled once more. Not uncomfortable, expectant, almost respectful. Behind him, the crystal road slowly dimmed, not because its energy weakened. Its task had ended. It had brought the Guardian here. The next decision belonged entirely to him. No path remained beneath his feet, only choice. He removed the glove from his right hand. The cool mountain air touched skin still marked by soot from the battle. Tiny cuts crossed his knuckles, fresh reminders that only yesterday he had stood against the Dominion. Yesterday, his greatest concern had been survival. Today, he stood before knowledge older than recorded history. Slowly, he reached forward. His fingertips hovered only centimeters from the dark crystal. For the briefest moment, he hesitated. Not because he feared what might happen, because he understood that once this moment passed, nothing about his life could ever return to what it had been.
"I'm ready."
His fingers touched the crystal. Warm. Not the warmth of sunlight. Not the warmth of machinery. The warmth of recognition. The doorway knew the difference. One circle illuminated, then the second, then the third. Blue harmonic light flowed outward beneath the crystal surface in perfect symmetry. It traveled through pathways hidden inside the doorway, across unseen chambers, beyond walls, deeper into the mountain than any scanner could have measured. Nothing opened, nothing moved. For one long heartbeat, nothing happened. Then the mountain remembered. The chamber itself awakened. The polished floor beneath Zandor's feet illuminated with intricate geometric patterns. They spread outward like ripples across still water. Each line intersected another with impossible mathematical precision. No decoration, no ornament, only purpose. The surrounding crystal columns slowly brightened, one after another. Each column answered the previous one until the entire chamber shimmered beneath a soft, blue radiance. It did not feel like lights switching on. It felt like thoughts returning after a long silence. The doorway dissolved, not by opening, not by moving. The darkness simply became transparent. Beyond it, another chamber waited. Unlike anything humanity had ever imagined, it was vast, not because of its size, because of its order. Thousands of crystal structures filled the circular chamber beyond. Each stood upon elegant pedestals arranged in perfect concentric circles around a central platform. None were identical. Every crystal glowed with its own harmonic frequency, its own color, its own rhythm, as though everyone preserved a different memory.
An archive.
Not shelves, not books, not data terminals, memories. An entire civilization preserved inside living crystal. Zandor stepped through the doorway. The instant he crossed the threshold, the silence changed. Until now, the mountain had been quiet. Here it breathed, not with air, with harmony. A constant, almost imperceptible resonance flowed through the chamber, so gentle that it could only be felt after several moments of stillness. It was neither music nor machinery. It was presence. The chamber stretched far beyond what should have been possible inside the mountain. Its walls curved outward until they disappeared into soft blue mist. The ceiling could not be seen. Crystal columns rose upward without end, fading gradually into darkness before the eye could find their summit. Light drifted between them like slow-moving streams beneath clear water. There were no visible lamps, no flames, no artificial illumination. The chamber itself produced light. Every surface appeared perfectly clean, not polished, preserved. Dust had never settled here. Time itself seemed unwilling to disturb the archive. Zandor turned slowly. His military instincts continued searching for exits, defensive positions, observation points, anything familiar. He found none. The builders had designed spaces unlike any human civilization. There was no obvious command center, no throne, no seat of authority, only circles. Every corridor curved gently. Every pathway returned naturally toward the center. The architecture invited movement, never control.
They wanted everyone to arrive together.
The thought surprised him. He had not reasoned his way toward it. The chamber itself suggested it, as though its design quietly influenced every visitor who entered. The central platform waited only a short distance ahead. Unlike the surrounding floor, it was formed from perfectly transparent crystal. Within it, tiny points of light drifted slowly through countless invisible layers. Each moved independently, yet none ever collided. The entire platform resembled a living night sky suspended beneath his feet. Resting at its center was a single crystal, smaller than those surrounding it, no larger than two hands placed together, completely transparent. Unlike every other crystal in the chamber, it emitted no light. It simply waited.
So you've been waiting too?
For several moments, nothing happened. Then the crystal responded. Not with light, with movement. Slowly it lifted from the pedestal, only a few centimeters, turning gently in the air until one narrow point faced directly toward Zandor. No force pushed it, no visible mechanism supported it. The movement possessed the effortless precision of something repeating a familiar action, one it had performed countless times before. The crystal drifted toward him, not aggressively, not cautiously, confidently, as though introductions had already taken place long ago.
Hello.
The words escaped almost involuntarily. He knew the crystal could not answer, yet remaining silent suddenly felt inappropriate. The crystal stopped before him, exactly at eye level. Its transparent surface reflected his face for only an instant. Then the reflection changed. He no longer saw himself. He saw stars, entire galaxies rotating slowly within impossible depths that could not exist inside such a small object. Countless points of light drifted through the crystal, each brighter than the last, each carrying patterns strangely familiar despite belonging to no known star chart. One star brightened, then another. Soon dozens illuminated together. They formed a spiral, then circles, then lines connecting worlds separated by unimaginable distances. Not maps, relationships.
This is knowledge.
No, not knowledge, perspective. Without warning, the crystal moved closer until it rested gently against the center of his forehead. Zandor expected pain. Instead, he felt warmth, gentle, comforting, like standing beside someone who had known him his entire life. The chamber disappeared. Light surrounded him, not blue, white, brilliant, endless. Then voices, thousands of them, speaking together, not loudly, not chaotically, perfectly harmonized. Every language, every tone, every voice, united.
What are you?
The voices did not answer. Instead, they welcomed him, not with words, with understanding. For the first time since arriving on Kairos, Zandor no longer felt like an outsider. He felt expected. Far beyond the chamber, deep within the oldest builder systems beneath Kairos, ancient synchronization processes quietly advanced. Guardian recognition confirmed. Archive, link, established. Primary memory access, authorized. The Crystal Archive had waited thousands of years, not for an explorer, not for a conqueror, not for a scientist. It had waited for someone willing to ask the right questions. The light surrounding Zandor slowly changed. It no longer felt empty. Shapes emerged within the brilliance, not immediately, gradually, like memories returning after a lifetime of silence. He found himself standing beneath an unfamiliar sky. There were no mountains, no oceans, no cities, only endless fields of crystal stretching toward a distant horizon illuminated by a brilliant white star. The air shimmered with countless floating fragments of light, not dust, data, living information flowing silently through the atmosphere. At first, he believed he had been transported somewhere. Then he realized his feet left no footprints. The crystal grass bent beneath no weight. The wind never touched his armor. He was not standing in the past. He was standing inside a memory.
A recording.
No, not a recording. A remembrance. The difference mattered. A recording preserved events. A remembrance preserved understanding. Figures appeared upon the distant horizon, hundreds of them. They walked calmly across the crystal plains. No one hurried, no one commanded, no one followed. Each moved with quiet purpose, yet together they formed something greater than a crowd, a civilization, the builders. For the first time, Zandor truly saw them, not as statues, not as legends, not as forgotten names buried inside ancient songs. Living, breathing, smiling. Their appearance differed from every expectation he had carried. They wore no armor, no ceremonial robes, no symbols of authority. Simple garments, woven from shimmering crystal fibers, flowed gently around them. Every individual appeared unique, yet none attempted to stand above the others. Children laughed as they ran through fields of crystal flowers. Elders paused beside them, sharing stories that required no written words. Artists shaped living crystal with gentle movements of their hands. Teachers sat beneath towering luminous trees while younger builders gathered around them, asking questions that seemed to delight rather than burden them. Everywhere, life flourished.
They weren't preparing for war.
No, they were preparing for tomorrow. The realization struck him with unexpected force. Human history measured greatness by victory. The Dominion measured greatness by conquest. The builders measured greatness by what they left behind for those who would follow. A young builder child stopped walking. She looked directly toward Zandor. Impossible. This was only a memory. Yet her brilliant silver eyes met his with unmistakable awareness. She smiled, raised one small hand, then continued walking with her family.
Can she see me?
The memory offered no explanation, only another question. The crystal plains dissolved, the vision shifted. Now Zandor stood within an enormous circular chamber unlike any human university. Builders of every age gathered around floating crystalline spheres suspended above elegant platforms. No lectures, no speeches, only conversation. Questions passed freely between students and teachers. No one claimed ownership of knowledge. Knowledge belonged to everyone. One elder builder gently touched a floating crystal. Immediately, the chamber filled with stars. Entire galaxies unfolded before the assembled students. Not displayed, experienced. Every learner walked among the stars themselves, discovering, questioning, understanding. Then the vision changed again. A builder child reached toward one unfamiliar constellation. The elder smiled. Not because the child knew the answer, because the child had asked the right question.
A civilization grows stronger every time one child asks a question no one has asked before.
The words echoed through the memory, simple, gentle. Yet they carried greater power than any military command Zandor had ever received. The vision expanded once more. Cities, gardens, archives, observatories, great crystalline gateways linking distant worlds. Everywhere, Builders traveled not as conquerors, but as teachers, helping younger civilizations solve their own problems instead of solving them for them. Zandor watched in complete silence. Everything the Dominion believed about power, everything humanity believed about progress, and everything he himself had accepted without question began quietly changing.
You built hope.
The memory answered, not with pride, with humility.
No, we protected the opportunity for others to build their own.
Those words reached deeper than any weapon ever could. The builders had not tried to shape the galaxy into their own image. They had tried to ensure every civilization could discover its own future. The light surrounding Zandor slowly brightened. The memory was ending. Yet one final image remained. An enormous map of the galaxy appeared before him. Countless stars glowed across its surface, some bright, some dark, many missing entirely. One by one, the lights began disappearing. Not because the map was changing, because history had.
What happened to you?
For the first time, the archive hesitated, almost as though, even after thousands of years, that question still carried pain. The stars continued disappearing, one by one. Entire regions of the great galactic map slowly faded into darkness, not suddenly, patiently, as though centuries passed between every light that vanished. The archive offered no explanation. It showed no battles, no armies, no weapons, only absence. The silence carried greater sorrow than any image of war ever could. Zandor watched the final light disappear. Soon only a handful of stars remained, scattered across an ocean of darkness.
You lost.
No voice answered. The archive never confirmed the thought. Yet the emptiness surrounding those final stars said enough. Something had happened, something capable of silencing the greatest civilization the galaxy had ever known. Then one remaining star began shining brighter than all the others. It did not belong to the center of the map. It lay far beyond the ancient builder worlds, small, unremarkable, almost overlooked. The archive slowly enlarged the region. The brilliant point separated into a familiar yellow star. 8 worlds circled quietly around it. One blue world, one home.
Earth.
The image remained motionless. No explanation followed. Only the unmistakable certainty that humanity had occupied a place within builder history long before humans ever dreamed of reaching the stars. Another point of light appeared. Not a planet, a vessel. It drifted silently through the darkness surrounding Earth's system. Unlike every Dominion ship Zandor had ever encountered, its outline inspired no fear, only curiosity. The vessel remained too distant to identify. Its shape blurred beneath the flowing light of the archive, yet one symbol briefly illuminated across its hull. 3 concentric circles surrounding a single vertical line. The same mark that had greeted Zandor throughout Kairos.
I know that symbol.
The vision dissolved before he could move closer. The archive would reveal no more. Not yet. The brilliant white light surrounding him slowly faded. The stars disappeared. The crystal planes vanished. The voices became distant, until only the quiet chamber remained. Zandor found himself standing exactly where he had begun. His hand still rested gently upon the floating archive crystal. No more than a few seconds had passed, yet it felt as though he had walked through centuries. The crystal drifted slowly back toward its pedestal. Before returning to its resting place, it paused. One final pulse of soft blue light passed through the chamber. The surrounding archive crystals answered in perfect harmony. Not loudly, almost like a quiet welcome. Across the immense circular chamber, hundreds of dormant crystals illuminated for the briefest instant, then faded once more. They had acknowledged him, not as a visitor, as someone expected.
What am I supposed to do now?
For the first time, the archive answered. Not with a voice, not with another memory. A single pathway illuminated beyond the chamber. One narrow corridor, leading deeper beneath the mountains. Nothing else moved. No doors opened, No instructions appeared, only a road. The builders had never believed knowledge should command, knowledge should invite. The next decision would always belong to the one who sought it. Zandor looked back once, toward the chamber he had just left, toward the silent crystals, toward the memories of a civilization that had refused to tell him what to think. Instead, they had shown him enough to ask better questions.
I'm listening.
He stepped into the illuminated corridor. Behind him, the crystal archive slowly dimmed, not because it had become dormant again, because another archive had just awakened. Somewhere farther beneath the mountains, another question waited. History remembers civilizations by the monuments they leave behind. The frontier archives remember them by the questions they inspire long after they are gone. Scene 25, the last record. A final message is never written for those who are gone. It is written for those who may still choose differently. Frontier Archives, Builder Extinction Records. The illuminated corridor waited beyond the crystal archive. It was narrower than the chamber Zandor had left behind. Not confined, focused. The builders had designed this path for one purpose: to lead the seeker forward without distraction. The floor beneath his boots was dark crystal. Thin lines of pale blue light moved through it in slow waves, illuminating the next section only when he approached. Behind him, the light faded, not sealing the way back, simply refusing to reveal more than one step at a time.
One question at a time.
The corridor responded with a gentle pulse. Whether it understood his words or merely recognized their meaning, he could not tell. The memories shown inside the archive remained vivid. Builder children beneath luminous trees, teachers surrounded by stars, cities built around learning rather than authority, a civilization that measured greatness by what others might become, and then the darkness, worlds disappearing, entire regions of the galaxy falling silent, Earth remaining as one of the final lights. A distant vessel bearing the same symbol that now followed him through Kairos. Zandor had entered the archive searching for answers. He had left carrying heavier questions.
What happened to you?
The corridor offered no reply, only another section of light. He continued deeper. The harmonic resonance of the crystal archive faded behind him until only the sound of his footsteps remained. Each one seemed too loud, too temporary. A human presence moving through a place built to outlast civilizations. The walls began to change. Faint impressions appeared beneath the crystal surface. Lines, figures, structures, not carved images, memories held just beyond visibility. As Zandor passed, they briefly awakened. A builder hand resting upon a child's shoulder. A group standing together beneath unfamiliar stars. A crystal gateway opening over a distant ocean, a city filled with light. Then darkness again. The corridor did not display history in order. It revealed fragments, moments the builders had considered worth preserving. Not their greatest victories, not their most advanced inventions. Relationships, promises, departures, returns.
You remembered people.
A soft pulse moved through the walls. Human archives preserved leaders, wars, treaties, and boundaries. The builders had preserved the moment someone chose kindness, the moment a student understood, and the moment a traveler returned home. Their history was not organized around power. It was organized around meaning. The corridor curved downward. The descent was almost imperceptible at first, then steeper. The polished walls narrowed around him, guiding him deeper beneath the mountain. Far beyond the reach of sunlight, far beyond any Ashari path. His armor displayed no reliable depth. The instruments recalculated continuously. Every result contradicted the last. The geometry around him did not conform to the mountain above.
This chamber shouldn't fit here.
The corridor widened in response. Zandor stopped. For a moment he wondered whether the system was reacting to his words. Then the final wall ahead became transparent. Beyond it lay a chamber unlike the archive. Smaller, darker, personal. One circular platform stood at its center, No surrounding crystals, no endless columns, no pathways leading elsewhere. Only a single chair formed from dark, translucent stone, and before it, one suspended sphere of pale white light. The chamber did not feel like a library. It felt like a room where someone had waited alone.
The last record.
The words came before understanding, yet the certainty behind them was absolute. This chamber had not been built for teaching. It had been built for farewell. Zandor stepped inside. The doorway behind him remained open. The builders had never trapped the seeker. Even here, choice remained sacred. The pale sphere brightened. A single figure slowly formed within it. At first only an outline, then shoulders, hands, a face shaped by age and exhaustion. A builder, not idealized, not preserved at the height of strength. This one looked tired, older than any figure Zandor had seen in the archive memories. Silver light moved faintly beneath translucent skin. Dark robes hung loosely from a body weakened by time. The builder sat in the chair before him, not as a ruler, not as a commander, as someone who had carried responsibility for too long.
You were here.
The image lifted its head. Its eyes opened and looked directly at him.
If this record has awakened, then the silence has ended.
Zandor did not move. Every other memory had unfolded without acknowledging his presence. This one felt different, prepared, directed, waiting for a listener.
You are not of our people. You may not know our language. You may not know our name. Perhaps your civilization has forgotten that we ever existed.
The elder's expression softened, not with sadness, with acceptance.
That is as it should be.
Why?
The recording continued. It could not hear him, yet the question had been anticipated.
No civilization should live forever beneath the shadow of another. Those who follow us must be free to become more than our reflection.
The builder looked down at their hands. Long fingers trembled slightly.
We believed knowledge could protect every future. We believed understanding would always overcome fear. We were wrong.
The chamber dimmed. Behind the builder elder, a field of stars appeared. Thousands of worlds, countless pathways of light connecting them. The same vast network Zandor had seen inside the crystal archive.
We opened roads between civilizations. We preserved their memories. We taught worlds to speak across distances once thought impossible.
The elder paused. The connected stars continued glowing behind them.
And through those roads, something found us.
One star went dark, then another. Then an entire line of connected worlds vanished.
What found you?
The builder elder's eyes lowered. For the first time, fear entered the recording. Not panic. The quiet fear of someone who had finally understood the scale of what was coming.
We do not know its first name. We do not know where it began. We know only what it leaves behind.
The starfield continued fading.
Silence.
The final word remained in the chamber long after the elder stopped speaking. Zandor watched the extinguished worlds. The Dominion had destroyed cities. It had conquered systems. But this had erased connections, histories, and civilizations so completely that even their names had disappeared.
We called it many things: the unmaking, the empty voice, the darkness between thought.
The elder looked directly toward the future listener.
Names did not help us understand it. They only helped us fear it together.
A new image appeared behind the builder, a vast crystalline network spanning thousands of systems, every connection collapsing inward, gateways closing, archives sealing, worlds disappearing behind barriers of light.
So we broke our own roads. We silenced our gateways. We divided the archive. We hid what could still be protected.
Kairos appeared among the final surviving lights. Small, distant, wrapped in layers of harmonic distortion, hidden not behind walls but behind forgetfulness.
This world was chosen because it listened.
Kairos.
It could preserve memory without becoming consumed by it. It could wait without surrendering hope.
The image of Kairos brightened. Within it, a network of crystals spread through the planet like a living mind.
We gave it fragments, not answers, never answers.
The elder leaned forward. Their weakening voice became more deliberate.
Answers become laws. Laws become cages. Questions leave room for choice.
The words echoed through every chamber Zandor had crossed. They explained the roads, the archive, the memories, and the refusal to command. The builders had preserved knowledge carefully because they had learned what happened when knowledge became control.
If you are hearing this, then Kairos has chosen to remember. And if Kairos remembers, then the threat we buried may also be moving again.
The white sphere flickered. For the first time, the recording showed signs of damage. The Builder Elder's image fractured into lines of pale light.
No.
He stepped closer, as though distance could preserve a message recorded thousands of years before his birth.
You will want instructions. You will want certainty. You will want us to tell you what must be done.
The elder managed a tired smile.
We cannot.
Then why leave this?
Because you must know that we failed.
The honesty struck harder than any grand revelation. The builders had not left a declaration of greatness. They had left a confession.
We were not gods. We were not infallible. We were only people who reached farther than our wisdom could follow.
The recording destabilized again. The stars behind the elder vanished. Only the chair and the solitary figure remained.
If your people repeat our choices, you may inherit our ending.
The elder lifted one trembling hand. A small symbol appeared above the palm. 3 concentric circles around a single vertical line.
This mark does not mean authority. It does not mean ownership. It means responsibility.
The symbol expanded. Within its 3 rings appeared 3 different images: a world, a memory, and a living being.
Protect the living. Preserve the truth. Leave the future free.
The symbol moved slowly toward Zandor. It passed through the recording boundary and hovered in the real chamber before him. No longer only an image, a functioning projection responding across thousands of years.
If you accept this path, you will not become our successor.
The elder's gaze seemed to sharpen.
You must become better than we were.
The symbol stopped before Zandor's chest. The blue energy lines in his armor responded, not automatically, waiting. The system had reached a boundary. It would not continue without consent.
And if I refuse?
For one impossible moment, the Builder Elder appeared to look directly into his eyes.
Then the choice remains yours.
The recording froze. The symbol remained suspended between them. No warning, no punishment, no prophecy demanding obedience. The builders had preserved their final message without preserving their authority. Even at the edge of extinction, they refused to command the future. Zandor looked at the symbol. Protect the living. Preserve the truth. Leave the future free. He thought of the Ashari refugees, of Luma listening to the mountains, of Kyle staring upward as the stars became ships, of Elder Karam standing between his people and despair, of General Vorak, a man capable of destruction who had still chosen, however briefly, to wait. Then he thought of Earth. The distant blue world shone within the archive. Humanity connected to a history it had forgotten.
I accept the responsibility.
The symbol moved forward. It entered the armor without resistance. Blue light spread across every damaged plate. The scars of battle remained, but beneath them, the armor awakened. The Builder Elder's frozen image moved once more. A final breath, a final message.
Then you are not the last of us.
The recording began to collapse. The Elder's face fragmented into countless points of light. Their chair dissolved. The chamber behind them disappeared.
You are the first of what comes next.
The image vanished. The symbol resting within Zandor's armor pulsed once. Not brightly, not forcefully, simply present. The chamber no longer felt like an ancient ruin. It felt as though it had finally completed the purpose for which it had waited across countless generations. For several long moments, nothing moved. The silence surrounding him had changed once again. Earlier, it had carried memory. Now, it carried expectation. The Builder Elder's final words echoed quietly within his thoughts. You are not the last of us. You are the first of what comes next. Those words were not a command. They were a responsibility.
I don't know if I'm ready.
The chamber offered no reassurance. The builders had never promised certainty, only choice. A soft harmonic pulse traveled through the crystal floor. The empty chair where the elder had sat slowly dissolved into shimmering blue particles before becoming transparent once more. Nothing remained. Not a monument, not a memorial, only an empty space. The builders had preserved their knowledge, not themselves. The narrow passage beyond the chamber slowly illuminated, one section at a time, never revealing more than the next few steps. The path seemed almost alive, patiently waiting. Zandor understood every archive, every road, every memory, every question. They all shared the same lesson. The future could never be given. It had to be chosen. Behind him, the archive remained awake. Thousands of crystalline memories continued their silent conversation beneath the mountain. The knowledge of an entire civilization still endured, not hidden, protected, waiting for every future guardian who might one day arrive. Across countless chambers, ancient builder systems synchronized. The guardian had accepted the first responsibility. The sequence continued. Archive 1, complete. Archive 2, awaiting guardian. Far above, the Ashari watched the fading evening sky. The blue veins of light spreading through the mountains had grown brighter since sunrise. Even the oldest among them admitted they had never witnessed anything like it.
They're changing.
No,
They're waking.
The elder smiled gently.
they were always awake. We are simply learning how to see them.
Luma slowly opened her eyes. The singing crystal hovered motionless above her hands. Its steady glow reflected within her turquoise eyes.
He heard them.
The builders?
She nodded.
They've been waiting for a very long time.
No one questioned her. After everything Kairos had revealed, some truths no longer required explanation. The holographic image of Kairos rotated silently before General Vorak. One builder structure after another illuminated across the planetary surface. Hidden networks previously invisible to Dominion sensors now revealed themselves. Not fully, only enough to suggest something far larger beneath the mountains.
General,
Continue.
the harmonic network has expanded beyond every projected model.
Can we stop it?
Silence settled across the bridge. Vorak watched the glowing planet without answering immediately.
No.
No?
We were never meant to stop it.
No officer understood what their commander meant. Vorak himself was no longer certain, yet every instinct he possessed told him one unavoidable truth. The Dominion had not begun this story. It had merely arrived in the middle of it. Zandor took another step into the illuminated passage, then another. Behind him, the chamber containing the last record slowly disappeared into darkness. Ahead, the mountain opened once more, deeper, older, closer to the heart of the builder world. History would remember the battles fought upon Kairos. The frontier archives would remember something different, that the fate of civilizations changed not when armies marched, but when one person chose to keep walking.
If you enjoyed this archive, leave a like. It helps more explorers discover our story. Subscribe and join us for the next chapter. Another archive is waiting.